Om Shanti. Good morning. So today Baba's saying we should become a flower and not a thorn. And as you know, Baba used to bring a bunch of flowers into the classroom and from the garden, and that's why Baba used to plant these flowers. And Baba used to ask then in the class, which flower are you? And there were even uk flowers, right? Uk flowers, you can see them. Sometimes I see them here too, in the desert. Very small, no smell, not that pretty. But this morning I want to share the essence really of Chakradhariji Didi's class. I mentioned a few points the other day. But really, it's always so nice to hear about Baba, right? So she did this class a few days ago in Pandav Bhavan. And she said that, many children used to come to Madhuban. Okay, let's start here. So, she said that Baba used to play badminton. And Baba used to play badminton with the elder children, not the younger ones, because they're too young, too short, But what can these younger children do? And so Baba would give them a job. And Baba would say, okay, you sit there. Right? She said we were 4 or 5 Kumaris. We would sit there. And then Baba would say, when Baba forgets to remember Shiv, Baba, you come and tell him. You come and remind him. So, they were like, Baba says, the genie, you give the genie a job to go up and down the ladder. Otherwise, they will, have waste thoughts. So she said, we were all sitting there, like who would be the first to go and remind Baba, as though we are all remembering and he's not remembering. So we were waiting to catch him. But sometimes when Baba made a big stroke, like with the bat, he hit a hard one. And then one of them would go and say, like she said, I would go and say, Baba, did you remember Shiv Baba then? And so she said, yeah, Baba used to, because she said, how long can we keep watching? So he used to keep us busy. Then she said Baba was eating plum one day. And she said, Ishu Dadi told us many times, don't come into Baba's room when he's eating. But she said, how was I to know that he's going to take a plum and be eating a plum? Like, you don't know when somebody just eats one fruit, right? Lunchtime, dinner time, breakfast time. And he just was about to put the plum in his mouth and he saw her. And then Baba said, okay, I'm going to eat from this side. You come and eat from this side. And then, Lachu Dadi told her off, And actually, I noticed the same thing Hansa used to say to us. Why do you come into the room when Dadi Janki is eating? Because the thing is that what she meant is that Baba can never eat alone. Like even Dadi would say, have you eaten? Have some of this. And it kind of, it takes it away from her. And same with Baba. Any time Baba's drinking milk or anything, he could never just have it alone. He would always say, have you eaten? Have you had? Why don't you have some? And then when it was winter, then, I've shared this before, that in the courtyard, where there is the Tower of Peace now, because of course Baba was there, no? There was no Tower of Peace. So it was like a tennis court. So Baba would say to Boli Dadi, okay, make these little, this size, like little roti, literally like the size of pani puri, And she would have made the butter. And so Baba would give 1 spoon of butter on this roti and feed everyone. And Baba said it would be good for the children in winter, to keep them warm. And then one day, there were many people, who came. And she said many people in those days even was 20, 25, 30, a party of 6, a party of 8 from Kanpur, Lucknow, whatever. And so then she said it wasn't even proper tents. it was these, these bags, gunny bags, these brown bags. Yeah. So it was like these gunny bags with the sticks, and then it started to rain heavily at night. And then Baba himself came out of his room to see what's happening to the children. And then Baba said, "Children, you come sleep in my room." But she said in Baba's room also it was leaking in 6 places, because even his room was a stable. It wasn't a, horse's stable. And so Baba said, "No, you come and sleep. At least there'll be less rain than outside." And Baba said, "Sleep under my bed also," because at that time his room was so small. And so Baba said, "Even come and sleep under my bed. At least you'll be protected a little more than outside." And she said that in the room next door, Lachu Dadi would be sleeping, and there were lots of trunks, the metal trunks that they brought from Karachi. And so she said Baba sat there while the children stayed in Baba's room. So imagine the sacrifices that Baba made. Yes, and at that time what happened is towards the end, right, of nearly Baba's time, they built the history hall. And at the end of that, they built 2 rooms for the Dadis. And so at that time, everyone said, "Baba, please come and stay in those rooms. It's too much now to stay here." And Baba said, no. Baba said he, right, Shiv Baba, has come in this old body. So how can this one stay in a new home? So I too have to stay in the old home. If he's staying in an old body, I have to also stay in the old home. Baba said, Almighty has come. And so Baba refused. Yes, and once Sandeshi Dadi, a trance messenger went and said to Baba, why don't you fix his throat so that he can at least speak better? Because every time Baba used to cough a lot like, Dadi Janki, she had this ongoing cough as well for a long time. And you know what Shiv Baba replied? Shiv Baba replied through the trance messenger. Baba said, he can get his job done through even a broken drum. Means Baba can get his job done through somebody who's not, speaking well or who's sick. And Baba said each one has to go through their own karmic accounts. This was the point. Baba said each one has to settle their karmic accounts. And then Baba said, Chakradhariji Didi said there was no tables and chairs at that time. And what they used to do for the elderly is they used to get these rocks and stones and rocks and put a slab on, put rocks. Like now we would say that's modern, right? But in that time it was primitive. And so even the bench was made with a slab, and the table was a little higher, made with a slab. And actually, where the telephone exchange is? Just like opposite the dispensary. Yeah. So that was like part of the kitchen. That was the kitchen then. And Baba said that you see this, which is like this space, that will be the size of your like chafing dishes in the future. Like dekja, like where you put the food. And it's true. Like if you go into the dining halls, this whole area is full of these metal, right, containers with the chafing dishes to keep them hot. And she said at that time we didn't even know what Baba is talking about because we hadn't seen the future. And Baba said, very nice point. Baba said that children, so once Baba said that today children will have rice in the milk and roti, so like kheer and roti. And some, of course, who don't like sweet, what did they do? In the evening, when Baba did kacheri, the court, Baba said, did everyone enjoy the roti and the kheer? And some of three, Baba said, who didn't have this roti and kheer? And three put their hand up. And they said, Baba, we had papad and roti. Because actually sometimes my mom used to do this also. Jaggery. If you have papar, you crumble it up and put jaggery, and then you can eat that with roti. It's actually very nice. So then Baba told them off, and Baba said, no, eat the food that's given at the right time. And Baba would say that if somebody has been dishonest, then they will not get papar. If somebody's not done something right, they will not get papar, because Sindhis liked eating papadam. And so, this is the good point. So Baba said, if the food, right, Baba's saying, if you're stuck on the taste of the food, then you're not eating Brahma Bhojan. You're eating food for the sake of eating food. But if you're eating food as though it's come from Baba and whatever Baba's feeding me, then you're eating Brahma Bhojan, which is a really deep point, isn't it? Like not to be stuck on the taste, right? Otherwise. And then there were different parties that came. And so Baba, she said, of course, Bholi Dadi was in the kitchen all the time, 24 hours. But then when different groups came, then they would also be made to make the lunch, breakfast, dinner, and they were very happy. And she said, we had very little, but it was like feeling like a kingdom, a sovereignty, Rajai. And she said, we used to have little dal and this much water. But it felt tasty, it felt like amrit. And she said in South India they make this rasam, but she said we had rasam every day, And then once what happened is Baba had made this comment. Baba made this comment that why is it that children fight over small pieces of land? And then Baba said, China's land should be given back to China. And so this point reached Parliament. Because even now there's big, big controversy against China. China's constantly trying to come forward. And our, youth, our army is there at the border in Ladakh. And so then they came to check what's going on, who is he? Yeah, and then Baba himself, he said, give me the keys. And he said, my children have come to see. And that was her point. She said, anyone who came to Baba, he made them think they are his children. And he treated them as though they are his children. And he showed them the store. He said, this is the shoe store, this is the clothes store, this is the wheat store, And it's all, and they were also quite stunned that they're seeing things that other people wouldn't show them, Like Baba was showing them things that nobody else showed them. And then one day...
What they told him about China.
I don't know what they told him about China. Anyway, and then one day... let's do that. One day... Chakradhariji Didi and a few sisters, they thought they would go onto the little mountain above Pandav Bhavan and go and have yoga. Okay? And so they went up, but they weren't having yoga. They were chatting. And she said, on the mountain, when you chat, it echoes, no? Like when we're up in Baba's rock and we say, Om, and it echoes, right? And so Baba heard some chattering from his room. So he called Vishwa Kishore Dada. It was like evening. And he said, come, let's go. And he said, Baba himself came with the lantern. And then he saw us and he said, what are you doing here? And they said, we're having yoga. Baba said, but I heard you talking. How comes you're having yoga? Anyway, Baba said, come down and go to sleep. Like, don't waste your time here. And then the other nice point is, she said that they used to send trance messages. They used to send a trance messenger to get a message to ask, what should we do about this person's sickness? Because she said there was no proper doctor. She said only a doctor who couldn't get a job somewhere else would come to Mount Abu. Because she said who was living here anyway? It was only Adivasis, like the primitive people. And so she said the doctors were not very, up to date. And so then they would imagine at that time, imagine if you were sick, Baba would send a message and say what to give to this child. Isn't that lovely? Like really, God is literally taking care of us. And then I told you, a few days ago that Baba had kept cows. But the thing is, he had 3-4 cows, but then they weren't giving that much milk. And that's why Baba says in the Murli sometimes that, he has some children who don't give milk, like who don't give the return. And then Baba asked to get a bigger cow that could give more milk. Anyway, they couldn't find the bigger cow in the village. And anyway, Baba got the cow from somewhere who started giving more milk. So this is our story, isn't it? To give more milk, to give more return. Like yesterday's Abhyak Murli, Baba saying we have to turn around and give the return of everything that Baba's given us. Om Shanti.